Yes, can we go?
Sir, 1 minute, sir. One minute, sir. Huh?
Okay.
Hello, everyone. So, we'll begin with today's class. It's an honor for me to introduce Mahalingam, sir, who is going to talk on migration, adaptation, and Hague Convention. Dr. Mahalingam is currently Associate Professor of History and Sociology at Faculty of Law, SGT University, Gurugram, Delhi NCR. He has published articles and monographs on international migration and global diasporas to his credit. His research interests include international migration, multiculturalism, and sociology of Indian diaspora. With this, I like to introduce sir. Now the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Feroz. Thank you for nice introduction, Feroz. Feroz, suppose if you're not able to hear me or if they are facing any issues, let me know. Then only because there's network issue here, and that's what I want to say in advance. If any issues, the participants or the students can, I'll get back to you if there is any technical glitch. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Feroz, for this nice introduction. If anybody is not able to hear me, let me know. I will really look into it because we let us make it very interactive session. And this topic today, I'm just planning to discuss today, marriage, custody, adoption, property, and Hague conventions. So this is a very interesting topic, and also it's a new topic. Like for example, this lecture which I'm going to deliver today, I'm going to touch upon what are the laws are available for the Indian migrants or diasporas, regarding marriage, custody, and also adoption, property. That's what the focus of the lecture is. And before I go further, I like to take attendance also. Nirmal, can you just say hello to me, Nirmal and Vijaya and Cheryl? I think there are, 5-6 people. So Jaskiranjit Kaur, Nirmal, Cheryl,
Yes, sir, I'm present.
Vijaya. So all are there. Just can you, say hello to me? Then it'll be easy for me to just start,
Hello, sir. I'm present.
Hello,
Cheryl
sir.
here.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me? I'm present, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yes. Who else? Vijaya is there. Vijaya,
Sir, Nirmal.
Nirmal. Okay,
Good,
Nirmal.
good afternoon, sir. Vijaya Nair
Yes.
from Kuwait. There is a lot of background noise. AC duct noise is going on, so I'll be mute all the time. So I'll message you if there is anything.
No issue, no issue. Just I wanted to check whether you're all there. You're all very regular students. I know you're very regular, serious students, all of you. I know all these names. Jaskiran, can you just say hello to me?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
I'm present in the class.
Yeah. One more thing, if there's a network issue, no problem. You can just message me on the chat box. We can, catch up on chat box. Okay, that'll be lovely. Okay, hello to everyone. Let's start the class. Hello, everyone. I'm just typing it on the chat box. I think that will help us to connect up. Okay. Yes. I may be switching off my video if there is a network problem because today there's a little, what's slow network. So let's see how we can proceed further. Yes. So now, what this topic is about marriage and also custody, adoption, property, and Hague Convention. It's a legal paper. Legal lecture, which I'm going to deliver today. Okay, what all laws which we have for these NRI marriages and also regarding custody, adoption, property, and all that. But very frankly, I'll tell you this paper, like when I was reading for this paper, I found out the laws which we have are not inadequate to address the issues. That's why still it's like evolving or growing laws about this issue. Still, we don't have proper laws to, book the culprits, and also, there's not proper. I mean, still there is a lot of work is going on, and we have not have any solid laws which can apply on this NRI marriages or custody, adoption, and other things. Okay, we'll discuss that. See, this unit, for example, the rights and issues related to Indian diaspora, migrants, marriage, and divorce. Okay, the existing diaspora laws related to custody of the children, the mechanism of adoption and laws related to it, and also property issue. Okay, redressal measures in case of conflict, and international governing institutions on this marriage and family, like adoption and property thing. Okay, so this is what. The next, I'm just going to say, for example, in introduction, see, people migrate. Okay, people migrate of their home country for various reasons. Okay, you know the reasons, economic reasons, or it's maybe voluntary, involuntary. Okay, and also after even reaching the host land, they have connections back with the homeland for various reasons, economic, political, and also for other personal reasons. But the process of globalization has accelerated cross-border marriages because of a lot of migration in the movement of people back and forth, which has led to lots of cross-border marriages. Okay, and say transnational marriages. Okay, and also issues involved regarding, for example, divorce, adoption of child, property, all that. There are a lot of things which are connected to this phenomenon. Okay, so this picture will tell you about, the marriage, like in India, how it is done. So Indian diaspora, one of the largest diaspora, which you know very well because of large migration from India in various phases. That is, I don't want to discuss further on that. But Indian migrants, even they migrate, they try to get married from their homeland because of the cultural similarities, and also, for various reasons, maybe dowry. Okay, other, like for example, sex ratio may be less in their host lands. So a lot of reasons for coming back to homeland to get married here. Okay, and also there are two kinds of diaspora. Like for example, the NRIs, of course, they have Indian passport, and PIOs, they are the citizen of the host lands. Okay, then we have Foreign Marriage Act 1699. It has, in the Indian jurisprudence, has made a special provision of the people of Indian origin marrying a foreigner, and their due recognition by the court of law. Okay, so there is a Foreign Marriage Act which covers this kind of marriages. Okay, the Foreign Marriage Act involves one of the parties a non-Indian citizen, irrespective of the fact that the marriage takes place in India or elsewhere. So you have to register under this act. Okay, but many marriages did not register. Many marriages were not registered under this act. That's why there were a lot of legal tussle between the two families. Okay, for example, the ruling of Bombay High Court in the case of Minoti Anand and Anar versus Subhas Anand and Wars. This case states that the matrimonial relief in this case could be claimed under Special Marriage Act. See, the Foreign Marriage Act and Special Marriage Act are very similar. Okay, these two acts are applied to the Indian migrants or the Indian origin people. Okay, those who are marrying from Indians or foreigners who are eligible. I mean, these acts are applied on these two categories of people. Then, for example, this case, Minati Anand case, which clearly says, matrimonial relief could happen because of, they claimed under this Special Marriage Act 1954 as the marriage between the Hindu couple was solemnized in Japan and was registered under the Foreign Marriage Act in India. That is also possible This Foreign Marriage Act says marriage may happen anywhere, okay, either in India or abroad, but it should be registered under this act. Then only you get this matrimonial relief. Suppose if the marriage is not going well, so you can get maintenance, whatever. All this thing could happen through this act. Yet another case, for example, Joyce C. Sumati versus Robert Dixon Brody. In this case, for example, Section 8 of the Foreign Marriage Act was the chief instrument for the claim of the relief if one of the parties was an Indian. Okay, so the woman was living in she was living in Bahrain and she came back to India because her husband deserted her and she applied for divorce. It could happen because of this Foreign Marriage Act, which was useful to take claim. Okay, to claim. Marriage laws related to overseas Indians are the same as those applicable to resident Indians. This is the problem here. Same laws for them as well, but there are a lot of practical problems, implementation problem. That's why, still there are so many cases which are really unresolved. It's pending in the court. I think there's a report, even Human Rights Commission for Women, they made a study on NRI marriages. They found out almost 6,000 cases between 2015 to 2019, the courts of India, particularly from Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, in other states as well. So these kind of cases are not resolved because of a lot of implementation issues. We need a very comprehensive law for this kind of issues. Okay, see, that's what I said. Same laws which we have for the Indian citizens, the same law also applies to them. But the problem is the other party. Example, there's a complainant who's living in India, but the defendant who's living in the host land. So how to bring him here to the court proceedings, trial? So there are so many practical issues and a lot of cheatings in this, but the court cannot trace it. So there's a lot of legal battles going on, and also we don't have proper proceedings. The trials still is not very clear in the cases of this kind of marriages. Okay, in some cases, that's what they say, private international law also gets applicable in this kind of scenario. Apart from the Special Marriage Act, Foreign Marriage Act 1964, you have 69, you have other like private international law also will be applied to get justice in this kind of issues. In case of marital dispute, it is the Indian personal law which gets precedence and is applied in resolving the arbitration. Okay, even here the personal law also plays a very role. Okay, this kind of disputes the role of personal laws also we have to look into it. India does not have uniform marriage system, you know very well. There are different communities, ethnicities, and also different personal laws we have. Okay, for example, laws related to various communities like Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, and Parsis are different in terms of, like personal laws are there, which are also have to be looked into it while dealing this kind of cases. So what I said so far, let me make it clear. We have a laws like Foreign Marriage Act, okay, Special Marriage Act, but these laws are not enough, inadequate to deal this kind of cases because these existing laws were not having proper, the trials, the proceedings, which were not given clearly. Okay, that's why there's so many cases which are pending still. I think we have to have a separate bill, okay, on this NRI marriages. And I think you must be knowing this Human Rights Commission for Women, the National Commission for Women, National Commission for Women, they have introduced, they just made a study to understand the ground reality of this kind of issues. See, I'm just switching off my video because my network is a little slow here. So that's what it will make us in our class without any problem. So I'm just switching off my video because I don't want my class to be disrupted in between. Okay, under this act, overseas Indians have to register their marriage at the place of their domicile, okay, or residence, as it comes under the purview of the civil marriage. Mostly in India, marriages are conducted as a social marriage, which means you are socially approved. Okay, they don't go register the marriage, but nowadays they are doing it. It's a good step. Okay, but in general, the marriages are not registered in India. I mean, those days, not now. However, some states like Delhi, Gujarat, Goa, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, they have a separate departments for this NRI marriages to be registered to safeguard the legal rights of the natives as well as the overseas citizens. Okay, which law is this Foreign Marriage Act is especially helpful for Indian women who have to undergo hardships in case of marital dispute. So this Foreign Marriage Act, Special Marriage Act, these two laws are protecting the Indian women who have been married here and they have been taken to the various locations of the world, okay, along with her spouse, to save herself from the marital disputes. These laws are helpful. For example, domestic violence, ex-party divorces, extramarital relationship, and immigration-related issues. Okay, I mean the Indian women are protected from this kind of issues. According to 2006 Supreme Court judgment, the registration of marriage would prevent selling of young girls in the name of marriage, and to check bigamy and polygamy, as well as to ensure implementation of minimum age for marriage and taking steps to prevent marriages without the consent of the involved parties. Okay, so Supreme Court judgment has, for example, that's what I want to tell you. We have inadequate laws. There are judgments from which we can understand the real problems, okay, about these kind of disputes from the NRIs. Okay, that's what we'll discuss. The government of India has issued guidelines and awareness campaign related to rights of the NRI spouses. And also in places like Punjab, other states, there is a lot of attraction to get married to an NRI husband because of a lot of money and other things, the comforts over there. So there are many people where, for example, in the case of Punjab, many were cheated, and many were disguised by the NRIs who came here and got married, and they didn't take the wife, they were left behind, or they took them along with them, but they were tortured. So many marital disputes regarding this kind of, this kind of cross-border marriages. Okay. And there are some case studies. For example, there are also laws related to safeguarding the rights of the Indian women related to mental cruelty and dowry harassment under Section 490. These are the sections. You can see the slide. These sections are clearly talks about. These sections are also applicable to the Indian citizens who are living here. Same. Okay. Section 498A, Section 323, Section 191 and 192. These sections under which they can be booked. But okay, just hold me. Just I have to message. A minute. Just I'm getting a call. Okay. A minute. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So now it's clear. So the case for law related to non-Indian resident spouses, for example, the Ukraine crisis. Okay, what happened in that? An Indian who got married to a foreigner, but he could not bring his wife because Indian laws are not enough to bring the foreign spouse. Only the Indians could be evacuated. So the students were evacuated from Ukraine, but his wife could not be done because of this. The laws are not allowing them. So finally, he had to migrate to Poland. Okay, so likewise, there are a lot of laws which are not adequate to address this kind of issues. Okay, and also we have a green card marriages. Some people, they marry for sake of, Indians who marry the foreigners who have a US citizenship. For example, in the case of US, there's so many green card marriages called shame marriages. Okay, just for the sake of green card, there are a lot of marriages, but after there are a lot of issues regarding people misuse those kind of marriages. So these are the things. According to one estimate, the US approved some 2.3 million green card marriages between 1998 2007. US laws are a little liberal than the Indian laws in terms of, for example, marriage. For example, a US citizen can bring his spouse wherever, okay, he got married. Okay, that's what US laws are a little liberal but not the Indian laws. That's what, is very sad thing. Then coming to divorce, okay, according to Indian law, the ground of divorce for overseas Indians is which one spouse enters into sexual relationship or adultery with the other person or desert the spouse for more than 2 years or infliction of mental and physical cruelty or the conversion of the spouse into other religion. Okay, so on the basis of this, okay, yeah, a spouse, a husband or a wife can apply for divorce. Same thing with the Indian citizen here also. There's no special provision for the NRIs. Okay, but in case of mutual consent, that is very important. Okay, in that kind of cases, the law is very strong. But there's a dispute between the two parties, then it's very there are laws which we don't have any laws for that kind of cases. Still, we have to frame those laws by which the culprits can be booked or punished. Okay, for seeking divorce for marriages solemnized in India and the subjects living overseas, there are procedures laid down by the Indian judiciary. In order to seek divorce, the husband and wife should be staying separately for the preceding 1 year. That you know very well. Before divorce, husband should live separately for a year. Same things applicable to the NRI couples as well. The application is based on the premise that both husband and wife cannot stay together as part of matrimonial tie, and judges issues a notice after 6 months, then they can be separated. Then divorce marriage. Okay, we have laws for the NRIs, as like for the laws for the Indian citizens. That's what you have to understand here. So there's no special law or provision. Only we have Foreign Marriage Act, Special Marriage Act. These two acts are applicable for the NRIs. Okay, in this divorce and marriage related cases. In terms of custody of children, in case of dispute in matrimonial alliance leading to divorce between the partners, one of the chief casualty is the custody of the children. Same thing, there's no special provision for the NRIs. The same Indian laws are applicable to the NRIs or the Indian diasporic origin people. As per the Indian law, it's the mother who has the first right, okay, to the custody of a child who's below 5 years of age. It's based on the premise that young children need maternal support, okay, when they are growing up. But the laws relating to custody of children depends on the religion of the parents as well. Okay, here also the religious laws are helpful. You have to look into the personal laws as well while considering the case. While Hindus and Muslims consider father as a natural guardian of the children, Christians and Parsis do not have any such distinction when natural guardianship of the children is concerned. But as per the Hindu and Muslim customs, okay, the father, he's a natural guardian, okay, or guardian of the children when they grow up. Okay, in such cases, Hindus' custody laws are governed by Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act and Guardians and Wards Act in 1690. The custodial cases in Muslim is governed by personal law along with the Guardians and Wards Act 1890. In most of this kind of custody cases, the judges will decide on these cases based on the interest and welfare of the child. Please understand this. Okay, their concern are sought in resolving custodial disputes. Okay, maybe mother has a right, father has a right for the custody. For example, in the case of Hindus and Muslims, father is a natural guardian. Okay, but it is not applied because there is a convention, there's a judgment on various cases saying that the children's welfare and interest will be taken into consideration to whom a child wants to live with, okay, after the divorce. That's what, you know, under the Hindu law, father is considered as a natural guardian, and the ultimate right of custody rests with him for children above 5 years and below 18 years. But the Supreme Court of India, Geeta Hariharan versus Reserve Bank of India case, the right of the child, custody of child would rest with the mother only in the death of an absence of the father of the child. So, but now this law, this act was amended, to make the parity between the mother and father. Now, Pegale, before, the father had an advantage, but now due to amendment, now mother and father equally, they have right over the custody of the child. But the child's interest and welfare will be taken into consideration. That is what now the new rule is. See, once custody right is given to either of the person, the other person can have visitation right, okay, to visit the child as directed by the court. Okay, though the custody rights is, for example, it's given to mother, father can visit the child. Okay, there's a provision in the law. In landmark judgment, the Supreme Court in Vikram Vora and Solani Balla case allowed the relocation of the mother and the child to Australia, thereby changing the visitation right of the father. So suppose father and mother is relocated to other country, father can visit there also. That's what, in this case, the judgment was given in this case. In most cases, the interest and welfare of the child becomes the guiding principle. Under Hindu custody law, father is considered a natural guardian of the child. But that's why I said it was discriminatory and they amended it. Okay, that's what I don't want to repeat again. Then in case of Muslims, under the Shia law, not the Shia, Sharia law, sorry, spelling is wrong. Sharia law, the natural custody rests with the mother till the male child, achieve the age of 2 and a girl child achieve the age of 7. The mother's right to custody continues even when she is divorced, but ceases to exist once she is remarried. Okay, so this is what among the Muslims. So these are the, rights, custodial rights, which are applicable to the NRIs as well as to the Indian citizens of India. Okay, that's what. So there are this kind of cases which led to a lot of conflict. Okay, so there is a Hague Convention which came into being 1980. Okay, which is really talks about the custody of the child, in a very comprehensive manner, because our laws are not adequate to address this issue. But this convention is, India is not a signatory to the Hague Convention due to various reasons. Okay, you can say, they say that this kind of convention is making it obligatory pressure on India to act upon. So that's what India has yet to make up its mind to part of this Hague Convention. Okay. Then this Hague Convention, they've just put up this kind of, commission, like for example, Uniform Child Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. So where they've addressed various conflict issues faced by the custody of the child between the couples. Okay, so India is not a signatory to this because India, that's what, we have this Article 226 and Article 32 against the particular parent who has wrongfully taken the custodial right of the child is put in force to resolve the case. Okay, that's why India has not signed this Hague Convention. We have an option in our constitution, which by using that, we can, book. Okay, suppose a child is abducted by other partner. Okay, so by using this, justice can be done in that kind of cases. So Indian judiciary has made some remarkable judgment in relation to custodial rights of the children. For example, in Gulbinder Daliwal versus State of Punjab, the Supreme Court of India respected the writ of habeas corpus judgment of Ontario Supreme Court of Justice and allowed the child to be relocated to Canada with one of the parents. Okay, so likewise, we have different various cases. Vikram Veer Vora case, Shalini Balla case, okay, Gurmeet Kaur Bath and Mr. State of Punjab, Pradeep Gupta versus Silpi Gupta, these kind of cases where the custody of child was addressed. Okay, but still, I heard that we are not having, laws to make in terms of proceedings. I mean, we don't have proper proceeding methods, trial methods. There are procedural flaws which still we are facing. Okay, in terms of dealing with child custody case between NRI couples and also the Indian diasporic persons. Okay, now coming to the adoption of children. Okay, the international adoption or stranger adoption refers to relocation of adopted child from one country to another country. Uh, Suppose, for example, an Indian diasporic person who's adopting a child from India. Okay, there are laws which are governing those kind of adoptions. Okay, for example, the Central Adoption Resource Authority of India and the Women and Child Development Ministry looks into adoption cases and safeguarding the interests of the children. The children adopted by non-resident Indian or overseas Indians or foreign parents are monitored, regulated as per the guidelines of the Adoption First Amendment Regulations 2021 bill. It's a new one which is governing this kind of adoptions. Okay, so the amended law, okay, which is being followed by Indian Mission to follow the adoption regulations of 2017 and send periodic reports on the status of the adopted Indian children. Okay, and we have this Hindu Adoption Maintenance Act. Okay, that also applies on this kind of adoption. Okay, then before, we have to get a no objection certificate, all those things, but not now necessary, because now this KERA, the new method is you can easily adopt a child from India if an NRI couple or an Indian diasporic person wishes to be. They're also required to follow the eligibility criteria of adopting parents before applying for the adoption. In case of dissolution of the adoption, the child is entitled to receive the care and protection of the country as per the Hague Adoption Convention. Okay, so Hague Convention is very much related to the child custody and adoption. Okay, the Indian citizenship law, there is no provision of granting citizenship to the internationally adopted children by Indian parents, those who are raised in India. So there's another issue. Okay, so we don't have any laws. For example, I'm an Indian, I've adopted a foreign child. So still, we don't have any proper laws. Okay, there's another issue. Section 22 of the adoption regulation, all they need is a foreign passport and Indian visa. The minor child of an Indian citizen under Section 51B has to be registered with the central government. Then Rule 6 of the Citizenship 2009 has to declare the legal guardianship of the minor child. That is a procedure for adopting a child from abroad. Okay, the Indian city. So now the coming to the next, this is what the adoption rules. Still, we are very vague. There are still laws are evolving. There are various issues between India and other countries in terms of adoption, but comparatively, we are legal safeguards in terms of adoption. Okay, for the NRI couples. The next, property rights. Okay, coming to the property rights. The Indian citizens who migrate to other countries for higher studies, employment, and business continue to retain their movable, immovable property in India. Okay, the introduction of overseas citizenship card, okay, which is really, helping the Indian diaspora and the NRIs to buy properties, either movable or immovable. Okay, and also not only they can buy or sell, they can also inherit the property of their ancestral but could also buy new properties. According to Foreign Exchange Management Act Rules 2019, NRIs and OCI card holders do not need the approval of any government authority, including the Reserve Bank of India, for buying and selling properties other than agricultural land, plantation property, and farmhouses. Okay, clear. See, you can't buy farmhouses or plantation property, agricultural land, but you can buy houses and other commercial properties. The financial transaction of overseas Indians is governed by Foreign Exchange Management Act, which allows purchase of residential or commercial properties in India. Okay, they're eligible for home loans, which can be guaranteed by the Indian employer here. So these are the options they have. As per the FEMA and RBA rule, overseas Indians can repatriate the amount received from the sale of residential property only twice, and the maximum amount should be, should not exceed $1 million. These are the restrictions, rules, okay, for taking the money after selling the property from India. As the landed property is a state subject, it has been noticed that local laws are also having problem with the NRI rights. For example, in Punjab, there are so many properties used between NRIs and the Indians who are living here. For example, I'm going to Canada, I'm living there. I've given my land to my relatives, but they've taken over it. So now there is a litigation between my relative and myself. These kind of so many cases are there in Punjab. Okay, but in Punjab, according to state law, okay, until the litigation is over, the relative can enjoy. The land will be in the hands of the relative. So these are a lot of issues are there. Still, we don't have proper, laws to govern this kind of issues. See, according to reports, 60% of NRI disputes relate to property, while 30% relates to matrimonial disputes. A large number of these FIRs are filed in the NRI police station in the state of Punjab. There are about 11 NRI police stations in the state for addressing the overseas Indians' complaints of property disputes. So Punjab is planning to enact a law that's called NRI Property Safeguards Act to look after their interests and in providing speedy and transport resolution of the property. Okay, that is there. Okay, now coming to the Hague Convention, what it is. See, the Hague Convention, for example, relates to the adoption of children and safeguarding their interests and welfare against illegal adoption, child trafficking, and human rights associated with it. Okay, 60 countries are signatory to this convention, which is an international convention which governs the welfare of the adopted child as well as custody of the child. Okay, India is not a signatory to this convention. I told you we have a lot of other options to deal this issue, but I think India should sign this Hague Convention so that the adoption issue. Okay, India was facing some cases which was going on in the media. I could not recall. So I think there are a lot of gaps in the laws. Okay, so looking into the case of inter-country removal and retention of the children, the government of India set up Justice Rajesh Bindal Committee to suggest ways in resolving the intricate legal disputes regarding the child custody and also adopted child. So draft legislation called International Child Abduction Bill has also been submitted by the committee. The Bindal Committee has suggested the setting up of inter-country parental child removal disputes resolution authority for addressing the issue of the role of mediation. Okay, now there is a method called mediation. Arbitration is being used to solve the legal disputes very fast. Okay, so to conclude, so India has to go a long way in terms of dealing the NRI marriages, custody of children, adoption. Of course, in property, we are far better, but still there are a lot of issues and gaps which need to be, looked into. So we need a very stringent laws to make it effective, and also the implementation also should be effective. So for that, we need a very strong laws. That's what there is a gap. in terms of, this NRI marriages, custody of the children, adoption, all this, there are a lot of issues which are unresolved. Okay, so that's what I'll just stop here and I'll take up the questions. You're most welcome to ask me the questions. So now the floor is open for question and answer session. We have 10 more minutes, so I'll be happy to take the questions now. Yes. Jaskiranjit Kaur, Kirtana Nambiar, Nirmal, and Vijaya Noyer. Feroz, am I audible, Feroz?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, so what about the questions? I'm just waiting for the questions from the floor. Okay.
Maybe they can ask. If anyone has any question to ask. So this, you want to know anything?
Yeah, sir. Sir, good afternoon. Unfortunately, I'm in travel. I miss your very beautiful lecture today. It's related to me also, sir. Why? Because I am a child welfare committee member in Nirmal district, Telangana state. As a member in child welfare committee, we also taking part adoptions, encouraging adoptions. But Indian children, mostly foreigners, easily they getting if diseased children and affected. Sir, hello. Affected and infected children and other long time diseased children also they are coming to forward take Indian children adoption in adoption process, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudesh. Anyone has any other question? Actually, Mahalingam sir is facing some technical issue. Vijay, okay, you have posted your question. We can wait at least for a minute, sir, to come back, or else what I'll do, you can.
Recently, sir, excuse me.
So this.
Recently, I heard about quite specific cases. Some people from India, women from India, some male person from Sri Lanka, some, but they got a children with that relationship. But they becoming stateless child something. I read that news article. But how can we, if according to International Child Welfare Child Rights Convention saying, according to that geography, that child belongs to that nation. But in this situation, the child could not become to that quiet nation. The first article saying, according to demography, the child can related to that nation. Can you give a clarification on this issue?
So this actually, I am also waiting for Mahalingam sir. He is the right person to answer your question.
Yeah.
I got his call. Just 1 minute.
Okay, I will hold.
Okay, so he's trying to rejoin the thing. So this at that time you can post your question to him because he is the right person. And another is Vijay. I think Vijay. Okay, Vijay has posted his question in the chat box. So as soon as sir joins the thing, he can give answers to your questions. . We can wait at least for a minute because sometimes this thing happens in online classes. Technical glitch. So, Nirmal, you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Karthana Nambiar, if I have pronounced your name properly. Sir is here. I think. Karthana. Okay, thank you, Vijay. Sorry, Vijaya. Sir, are you?
I'm back
Sir is
again.
here.
Yes, I'm back again. Now, what was the question, Nirmal? Nirmal was
Sir,
asking me question. I was just
Vijay has already posted two questions.
okay.
So
Okay.
in the chat box it is there, and Swadesh wanted to know uh, quite good questions, I think. So he can.
Yeah, yeah. I see the questions of Vijaya. And what about Nirmal was asking me a question about the, Nirmal, can you just ask me again? I'll address the question of Sudesh Parkipan. I don't know what about stateless children in Kuwait? Clarify issue. Okay. It will be taken care of. And what about Nirmal? Are you there?
Sir, I didn't ask any question, sir.
But somebody was asking him from Hyderabad based, and I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Sudesh, who's Sudesh here? Okay, this Sudesh, Parkipandla Pravesi Mitra Labor Union. Yes. Can you just can you unmute, please?
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon.
What is your good name?
Swadesham, sir.
Acha, you are an activist from Hyderabad, you know?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, Hyderabad based.
Okay. Okay. What was your question? The stateless children.
Yeah, sir. I read an article in from Kuwait. This article belongs to one Indian women or Indian men. They got a relationship with someone in Kuwait country.
Okay.
They got a child, but that child belongs to which country, which nation will give recognition to that child?
That's that's what, you know, this kind of lot of legal issues are there, and we don't have a laws. For
Yeah, sir, but there
example,
is a
the child
convention, UN convention, child rights convention,
Okay.
saying according to that demography, the child will get the recognition of that nation only.
But I was just trying to tell you, the child, if it is born there, then the law of the host land will apply. Okay, but also it depends on policy of the host land whether that kind of child will be accepted. For example, in US, there is a provision. Okay, but for example, in other countries, I don't think so. Will be accepted. For example, even in India, I was telling in my lecture, I was explaining in my lecture, foreign adopted child will get naturalization after registering with, you know, the Indian bodies here, and also the child has to wait for 12 years. So he has to live in India. He or she has to live in India to become an Indian citizen. Suppose an Indian couple was adopting a foreign child. Okay, there are a lot of, you know, laws which are different from country to country. That's why, you know, the stateless children, like for example, in Sri Lanka also, like for example, many Indians who are living stateless. Okay, they neither they belong to India nor Sri Lanka, but still they are citizens, they live there. So there are a lot of issues, but you're right, some UN conventions or some kind of private international law will be, you know, used to give justice to this kind of people who are in a plight, you know. So they should be addressed through such international conventions or bodies, you know, to provide them justice. That's what my, you know, my conclusion or my answer for your question. Sudesh, I need your address as well. I need your phone number, address, because I need to talk to you about something, you know, I'm doing a research. So can you just send it to me? Like, how do you send it to me? Like, I have my mail ID. What is your mail ID? Tell me.
Swadesh.ind.
Spell out.
SWADESH. Swadesh.ind.
I.
ND. You can
Okay,
take
you
here.
all be ready.
I'm texting.
IND.
Sir, I am a present
Acha,
working
okay.
as a Child Welfare Committee member in Telangana State.
Okay, okay.
As a social
Thank
worker.
you. Because I
Recently,
want to, I want to, I just doing your own research on, so I need your input, like how these kind of laws, like I'm just planning to work on this area, like
Okay,
laws
sure,
and
sir.
adoption of,
Sir, one thing
so that's what
the
I
Indian
need your,
children, many Indian children, they're getting adoption from foreigners. The foreigners they can taking
okay.
very easily the severe diseases children, if HIV infected and affected children also, they're coming to forward taking these Indian children.
That's what Swadesh, his name is Swadesh, for example,
Yeah.
I was just during my lecture, I was telling, there is a body today India has formed, CARA, Child Adoption,
Kara guide, yeah.
Authority, something, CARA. So CARA is very active,
Yes.
by which these kind of children can be monitored by the Indian diplomatic missions, the embassies, they should do that. That's what, according to the rules of the CARA. Okay, so CARA rules, should be followed by the Indian embassies to monitor such kind of adopted children, Indian children.
Yes.
So with this, I'll be calling you for my research input maybe sometime later. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for your contact and
Okay. Thank you.
any other questions from the audience? See, basically, I think you all got let me just give you the highlights. See, I spoke about marriage, custody, property, and also adoption. What are the laws are available for the Indian migrants as well as Indian diaspora, okay, which are scattered across the world. But I just concluded by saying that most of the laws are evolving in terms of marriage, in terms of adoption. Still, we don't have a very comprehensive, strong laws to address the issues. For example, marital disputes between NRA couples, custody of children, okay, and also adoption. Okay, so but in terms of property, we have very fair laws, no doubt. These areas still we have gray areas which need to be really addressed by the government of India by just appointing a commission to look into the issues of this. I told you between 2015 2019 there are 6,000 cases of this like in marital disputes of NRIs. Still these cases are unresolved. Okay, so that is a very big concern which we have. So that is the point. Okay, so when you get the material or module, you can read this. Okay, the Hague Convention and also the Foreign Marriage Act, Civil Marriage Act. Okay, so the Indian Hindu Marriage Guardianship Act. All these acts are for addressing the issues in Indian citizens here, but same is also applicable to the NRIs as well. But there are a lot of procedural issues, okay, the trial issues, implementation issues that we come across. Okay, that's the point I made in this presentation. So any other questions? Otherwise, we will wind up this session. Yes. So Feroz.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I think no more questions. So luckily, my net was supporting me. I could complete it. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, tell me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful lecture, and thank you for providing such an important information. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Feroz. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just closing it.
So, okay, sir. Now we are just winding it up.
Yeah.